Hey guys, welcome to Gen Next Door Podcast. I'm Jennifer Otero. I started this podcast to highlight the stories of local business owners, entrepreneurs, and creatives on how they started their businesses, advice they offer, and what they are doing to make a difference in the community. This is a safe space for like-minded people who want to be inspired and get motivated to live their dreams, all while giving back no matter how small. I'm right there with you, so let's do this. Hi, welcome to another episode of Gen Next Door Podcast. My guest today is Denise from Americano Foods. She is part of a brother and sister duo who founded their business off of a volunteer trip in South America and started their business here in Arizona. Not only has Jeff and Denise created an almond and peanut butter that is healthy and delicious, they also support great causes. Let's welcome Denise. Hi, thank you so much for talking to me today.
Hi, Jennifer. Thanks for having me.
To start off, I just kind of want a quick summary of what Americano Food is and your mission.
So Americano Foods is a good-for-you nut butter company that creates 5 delicious, unique flavors of peanut and almond butter that feel good and also give back. Currently, our flavors entail Choco Blanco, cinnamon honey peanut butter, cinnamon roasted almond classics, and our mission includes donating to nonprofits to reduce poverty and help economic growth. That's both in kind through peanut butter and jelly sandwiches worth of donations or monetary contributions.
Oh, that's really cool. First, I want to, before getting into the business part, I just want to talk a little bit about you. About your life before the business. So can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Where are you from? Where did you get your entrepreneurial spirit?
Yes. So it's a little bit of an interesting story. I actually come from more of a service-oriented field. So all through grade school, from the time I was probably in 2nd grade, all I wanted to do was become a teacher. So I definitely had this passion to educate. And I feel like education was my calling. So I went through grade school, high school, all with this thought that I'd become a teacher. So I went to college and I took my education classes, and I just kind of reached this point where, for whatever reason, I couldn't go through with it. I loved the field, but I needed to make a decision about a particular section that I needed to focus on, and I couldn't. So I instead switched to psychology, which endlessly fascinates me and still does. Finished my degree in psychology, ended up going back to a master's program for higher education and working in the university for a little while. Helped a lot of students gain international education. They earned a lot of credits abroad and really helped them expand their worldview. And kind of during that process, you realize that the world really is big and you can do an endless amount of things.
Yeah, I started to learn that.
So alongside this entire time, my brother and I actually had been running peanut butter Americanos. So we'd do weekend farmers markets. And as that kind of grew, at the end of my program, I had a decision to make. So do I want to do, more of the go into the service-oriented career as I have been studying, or do I want to kind of take this leap and jump into a small business, really figure out what risk is and how to make something succeed and how to take, turn nothing into something. And I think that my kind of courageous side of seeing all of the opportunities in the world lended to the ability to switch over to that entrepreneurial spirit. So that's kind of a parallel path that I took, and then ultimately ended deciding to run the business.
How did your brother get into it? Was he in the business side of it, or did you guys just decide to do this randomly?
It's a great question. Yeah. I'll always say that my brother is crazy enough to start a business and I'm crazy enough to join it. So he really, after the volunteer trip in South America, came back and was super inspired. And him and I started experimenting in the kitchen together, but he was not going to stop, he was going to run with this business idea until it was up and launched. And so I would say that he definitely has that. He's way more of a risk taker than me. And I'm certainly more of the put everything into a structure and execute on a plan. But I actually find that makes a great pairing.
Yeah, that's a great team. I was going to say, like, I have a younger sister and I couldn't see myself working with her. We're just both stubborn. We're like so similar, and it's kind of bad in my mind just because like we'll just be butting heads, but I guess you guys work well together.
Yeah, Jeff and I have always been friends. We've always kind of gotten along. He's got a great sense of humor, and I'm a little more go with the flow. So I think you definitely absolutely need humor in a business partnership. But yeah, certainly as siblings, it helps too.
So I saw your guys' Instagram, and you guys said that you wanted to be rock stars before, and you started a band together. Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so actually peanut butter wasn't our first entrepreneurial idea. Jeff was always starting things and I was always joining it.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so he had an interest in playing guitar. My parents gifted him one, and he just started picking up and writing songs. And every day after school, we'd come and we'd have band rehearsals, and we end up writing, and I still have it, a book of songs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we would perform them at family events, Christmases and birthdays and vacations. That was fun. We did that for quite some time. We recorded some, and luckily, we're a little bit better at selling peanut butter than we are at singing. Not a successful career. Another thing we actually did was back when Amazon was just selling books, like when it initially launched, I saw my brother rolling a case full of books down our street. Like it was just him wheeling this, like what seemed like an old library down the street. And he starts loading them into his room, and he bought the scanner and was scanning them into Amazon with an account that he had created and just started selling. And he became an Amazon seller way before Amazon became what it is now. And at that time, he was listing them and I was shipping them.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that was probably our second business idea.
Okay, let me write that down. Second. Amazon. Okay. Going back to what you said about psychology and being a teacher, how has any of that stuff that you learned in school translated to what you do now?
Absolutely. One of the best pieces of advice that I heard in the time that I've been running this business is that the businesses that are able to pivot are ones where the founders consider themselves more like social scientists and researchers than as founders intimately connected with their craft or the passion. And there's a lot of value to that because you take things less personally when you look at them objectively. And psychology is just the science of human behavior, and business is very much like that. Okay. Especially when it comes to marketing and empathizing. Absolutely.
I was gonna say that, like, I see it connecting more like in customer service or connecting with the people that you sell to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Making connections.
Yes, you're so right. So there's maybe two sides of that. The psychology of what it's like to be human and to connect with people. Certainly why I went into psychology was because of that. And, I'm like kind of a big nerd about assessments. And one of my assessments always comes back to say that one of my strengths is empathy. And I absolutely believe that that's been helpful with customer service, with branding, with communicating our message, with developing our mission. And then the other side of psychology is like the science, it's like the experiments, it's the research, it's like the stepping back and running, we'll test out this theory and we'll test out this theory. And so in that more scientific methodology perspective, that kind of backing has been really helpful.
Yeah, that makes sense now. I'm kind of curious why peanuts, out of all the things that like South America produces, I'm sure he's seen a lot of other stuff. Why?
Yeah, well, the story really is that in Uruguay, where my brother was, the largest, most populous crop that they produce is peanuts.
Mm.
And so it was just plentiful. It was ample, it was everywhere. And they did not have peanut butter. And so you can imagine the questions that kind of appear, like here's this amazing, nutritious crop that you grow in your own backyard, but yet you don't produce peanut butter, which is a commodity that is one of the largest snack items in the US. And really as those questions started to, appear, and as Jeff dug deeper, he realized that they produce a lot of peanuts, but they export it up to us. And then the United States makes products like Skippy and Jif. And then we export it down to them. They taste it and they're like, this really isn't that good. It doesn't really cater to the palate of sweeter, creamier, more like dulce de leche type products that are more popular in South America. And also we add like emulsifiers and preservatives. And so it's really not as fresh as it could be. And so that really led to the flavors that we have being sweeter, creamier, but still low sugar and nutritious.
Yeah, I don't understand why anyone hasn't tried to do the peanut butter there, because they've done other things. Yeah, that's confusing. But that's good that you found a problem to solve.
Yes, exactly.
And it's healthier too. That's really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what was the first steps into creating the business? Were you part of those steps, or did your brother do it and then you just tagged along later?
Yeah, no, we were definitely there from the beginning. First steps to creating a business. The first 2 years is just like a complete whirlwind. Well, obviously it starts with an idea.
Yeah.
And then
people get stuck on the idea part and then they don't move forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that happens a lot, or they'll do a lot of research and maybe notice that other people have solved the problem, or realize that it's competitive and they don't move forward with it. But for us, there was definitely an organic growth. We had an idea, did the research, did the experimenting. And then from there, I guess, just very, very driven to bring the product to market. So how that works for food companies, you, especially for a packaged food company, is you do have to meet, as soon as you start selling it in the public, you do have to meet regulations, like FDA regulations. And so we went through certifications of that sort, found a certified food kitchen, produced in there, and then started selling at farmers markets. And yeah, as soon as you have a product that people can taste, feel, touch, see, smell, and enjoy, and then keep coming back for more, it's very motivating to continue. And so, yeah, just kind of, grew from there, stuck it out at farmers markets. Shout out to farmers markets. They're amazing.
Yeah.
Some of the hardest working people I've ever met.
Do you remember your, the first product you sold? How did you feel?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we have pictures.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's documented. Yeah, the first woman that handed us cash, and we had this like little cash drawer box. And this was like way before, like PayPal was a thing. We were using PayPal for credit cards, but it was like none of this like Square and Apple Pay, like touch and go.
Was this at the farmer's market?
Yeah. Yeah, it felt invigorating, I think is the word.
That's cool. I want that feeling someday. So what motivated you to do this? In my opinion, a physical product is like a harder to sell than a service, because there's like so much physical things you have to worry about, products, and especially with food. So why a product over a service? There's just so many things.
Yeah, well, I think that for us, we were really trying to solve a nutrition challenge. And so really if you're really, really trying to solve a nutrition challenge, which is people are consuming high sugar spreads that are not good for them, especially as we talked about the story of where we came from. We wanted to provide a product that was an alternative to these high sugar spreads that were not tasty. So the only really solution to that is actually to provide that alternative. And so that's what we did.
Yeah, to me, it seems daunting because there's so many peanut butter options. And there's a lot more healthy ones coming out. In my mind, I wouldn't see myself doing it, but thank goodness you guys are doing this.
Well, you're not wrong, Jennifer. It is hard. It's definitely running a food business is very challenging. And most food companies either fold or sell. And a lot of don't make it past a few years. It's very challenging. You have to consider all of the supply chain that goes into it, raw goods, expiration dates, regulations. You really do have to have a lot of passion and drive behind what you do and continually come back to your why. And for us, it's peanut butter, but for you, it will be something else. And for somebody else, it'll be something else. And
yeah, I see that. And so my next question is what's the biggest challenge you have right now and how are you trying to overcome it?
So definitely, not uncommon, but during COVID, switching from a very much in-person grocery retail in-store demos model to an online reaching customers on their phone model, not necessarily switching, but growing into, it's just adapting to the market. And I don't think that problem will ever go away. I think that's just a continual, growth mindset that we have to have and businesses have to have in order to survive. I would say that right now we're learning a lot about that and growing with the e-commerce online world.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to grow nationally, globally, maybe you do need to know how to sell online. But besides your website, where do you sell your peanut butter?
You can find us on Amazon. You can find us on Walmart, and then in person across the Southwest at Sprouts, Kroger locations, AJ's Fine Foods.
That's a lot of places. How did you get your product to all those grocery stores?
A lot of knocking on doors, Jennifer. A lot of knocking on doors.
Where have you knocked? Or how did you do it?
You do it through a lot of partnerships. Yeah, you do it through a lot of partnerships. You find a good distributor in the food space who is willing to grow with you and also partner with grocery retail locations. So that's as far as the in-person goes. With online, it's a whole nother realm of meeting all of the expectations of the e-commerce platform. So for Amazon, and especially in the food space with Amazon, there's a lot of expectations you have to meet. You just anything, you just jump in, do a lot of research.
A lot of research.
If you're doing it yourself, you have to do a lot of research and a lot of jumping in. There are a lot of organizations that handle these things for you also.
I did not know that. So I guess just do your research. Where did you find your distributor? Just Googling?
No, we reached out to them and proposed the idea.
Oh, wow. Okay. So what do you enjoy most about what you do?
The feeling at the end of the day that I'm creating something people enjoy and that is good for them nutritionally, physically, and mentally.
That's really nice. Can you walk me through a day in your life in the business?
Oh man, it varies day to day. But I would say...
Do you have a title or just co-founder?
Yeah, owner, co-founder. Mm-hmm. So since Jeff and I are in different cities currently, we usually wake up and personally, I practice yoga almost every morning. if we're starting the day there. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, if we're starting the day, when I wake up, I take my dog out for a walk.
What time is that?
Oh, 6:30.
Okay. That's kind of early though, but okay.
And then I'll start practicing yoga around 7:30. And that's my grounding for sure.
Do you do meditation too?
I would consider my practice a moving meditation.
Okay.
That's a whole nother, like all the styles of yoga. But my particular practice is called Ashtanga yoga. And in that style, there's no music and it's self-led. So it's a lot of breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And then just whenever I'm complete with that, I usually eat, shower, and then hop on a conference just like this. And my brother and I get to work. He does a lot of things. It's just him and I. So we do all the sales, all the reaching out to new accounts, maintaining.
Oh my God.
Marketing,
That's
branding, stuff like this, accounting, all of that. And when I'm complete, I like to eat. I usually take my dog out sometime in between that too. Like getting out into nature is important. And then, just have the evening like, most people would, meeting up with friends.
That's a lot. Why? Why just you two? Or do you plan on having other people later on? Or you just like what you do and you're just going to do it together?
No, absolutely. I mean, him and I work a lot together, but we do work with some partners. And so we have, we're various projects throughout the day that in association with that.
Okay.
We do intend to grow. And that's one of the biggest goals I have is to be able to hire another full-time person.
Yeah. What would it be first? Like to help with what?
Yeah. I would love some help on the marketing end.
Like social media stuff, branding, or connecting
like
with
an in-house marketing person that touches on a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Yeah. Lots of components to marketing, email, SEO, site, social media, and then there's PR.
Okay, that's a lot right there.
There's no way I could possibly do it all. That's what I would love. My dream is to have.
Mm-hmm. I guess you answered my question. What's your biggest business goal right now? So I guess the marketing person, growing. How far do you guys want to grow? Because there's certain people that would just want to do like a small local shop and nothing bigger, or they would be fine with if it's that way. But what are you guys' like long-term goals?
Yeah, the sky is the limit for us.
Mm-hmm. Everything. You just want everything.
So behind hiring a marketing person, my second biggest goal is to do international export. Okay. I'd love to see our products abroad.
Real cool. Have you been to South America?
I have, yes.
And have you looked at all the distributions and stuff for the peanut butter?
Yeah, I've done a lot of research in Mexico, particularly because it is our neighbor.
Yeah.
But beyond that, we've gone to like Colombia, Costa Rica, Panama. So because of the partnership work that we do, they're based out of these countries. And we certainly talked to retailers there. It does, the thing with this is that it does take a lot of initial investment with distribution and logistics. So we'll get to that point, but we're not quite ready to take that leap yet.
So I have another question about that. Starting off with all the supply chain stuff, like all the products, there's like an upfront cost to it. How did you guys manage that? Was there like loans, or did you guys save enough, or did you talk to other people, investors, or what did you do?
Yeah, so that's a great question. There's several ways that a small business can grow. We chose to not take initial investments and just had a small initial personal investment of around $4,000. And if you can believe it, that's the only investment that we've taken outside of the business itself from an investor type source. So we've grown slowly and organically. That's a very grassroots way to do it. The alternative is to grow more quickly and take outside investment. We just chose the slower, more organic route. And we were able to do that because of the stuff that we did over time, like farmers markets, building relationships, really working on different partnerships. So I think that answers your question.
Yeah. So I guess like $4,000 is it doesn't seem like a lot. I would assume it would have been more, but since you were like doing it little by little and then people liked it, then it kind of grows from there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, little by little, that first year, you invest everything back into the business. So you really especially the first few years, every profit you made went back into the business to grow it, to build partnerships, to get raw materials, everything. So 4,000, I mean, if you look at most businesses, and I mean, honestly, it's something we should be really proud of, but most businesses require, in order to launch, like in the food business, like $25,000 of initial investment. And if you don't have investors initially, you are doing that yourself.
Nice. So do you have any mentors or people you look up to help you with your business?
Yeah, that's a great question. We do. We've been very lucky to have mentors in the food space. There's one in particular they're called Fairy Tale Brownies. And Eileen Fisher, she's an amazing woman. Her and her business partner started it and have been running it now for decades. Wow. They're incredible. They've been great mentors to us. We've also, Jeff attended an event once and met Jerry Greenfield from Ben & Jerry's.
And wow.
I know. And over the course of the years, we've touched base with him every so often and sought out his advice. Such a down to earth person.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And there's great organizations too within Arizona. Manufacturing organizations, local programs. We've received Local First Arizona is great. MEP, the manufacturing partnership through Arizona. A lot of the fellows there are incredible and incredibly knowledgeable. So there's been a lot of great resources we've been able to use. And yeah,
how did you find the fairy brownie lady?
It's a great question. When you're in the kind of the local market, you run into people in events. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, just had a conversation and then the relationship grew from there. So
it's just a lot of networking and I guess you could say to go to events, which would really help find those people. So are there any environmental or social organizations you partner with? Yes. So one of the biggest groups we partner with is called Techo, Techo para mi país, a roof for my country. And they do a lot of off the ground economic development. So they'll do, they're an organization that spans across the Americas. And if you've heard of Habitat for Humanity. Yeah. They're a lot like Habitat for Humanity. Okay. So they'll do a lot of just preparing you for your first interview. And they also do just get you off the ground, trainings or even building houses. So you're just not sleeping on the streets. So they do a lot of on the ground work. And they're an organization that we are strongly affiliated with. That's really cool. And you've helped with them, or you just do the charity part where? Yeah, we've done both. Okay. To answer your question, yeah. So Jeff, the volunteer trip that he was on was with this organization. Oh, okay. And so it's very, very close to our origins. And then we also do in-kind, like peanut butter contributions and monetary. So at Techo, we've done monetary. But we also do in-kind, to St. Mary's Food Bank, St. Vincent de Paul, Andre House of Arizona, Jewish Family Services. Those are all we donate actual. Matthews Crossing was another recent one. Those are all we donate actual product to them. Okay. Well, you're doing a lot. That's a lot. Usually someone just sticks with one of them, but that's nice. So do you read or watch anything to stay informed about news or just for fun? Oh man, I'm like a podcast junkie. So when I go for walks, I'm almost always listening to a podcast. Currently, my favorite podcast is called Hidden Brain. And it's psych related. They do a lot of different topics. And they're always solving the human component of life. They'll do they did one on the power of forgiveness, how to build. Oh, that's empathy. Really hard. Yes. Yeah. These are great things. They're great things for all humans to
to tap into. But I think it's particularly relevant when you're in like a business mindset and you're able to humanize the experience.
Cool. Do you watch anything?
I'm terrible at watching TV.
That's good, but sometimes I like to binge.
Let's see. I did watch and follow the NBA playoffs. So I watched the season. Go Suns.
Go Suns.
I'm still, you know what? They put up a great fight against the Bucks, and I'm super proud that they made it to the finals.
Mm-hmm. Me too. So what is something you want to leave the listeners with? Information about your project or last inspirational words?
Oh gosh.
No pressure.
The last thing I'll ever, last piece of wisdom I'll ever drop.
Take your time. No pressure. It's hard. That's a hard one.
Yeah. So I would say, and this is something that probably comes from originally from, it's definitely a yogic lens to view everything.
Mm-hmm.
But in yoga, we'll always say like, just breathe through the pose. Like yoga is all about breathing. And something that really, really struck me with the whole practice is that you can translate it to life, in that life is just a series of obstacles that you're breathing through.
Okay. I like that. I know I have to breathe more. That's my therapist said that because we're sitting at desk all day, our like diaphragm and our stomach is like tight. So we have to learn to like breathe constantly ourselves and deeper. Mm-hmm. So I get that.
And breathe through the nose. Breathing through the nose has a lot of benefit to your brain.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is super last question. What do you love about Arizona? What specific local business and or location?
Oh man, what do I love about Arizona? That's such a tough
Another hard question.
That's so tough. I love Arizona's diverse geography. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's really under. I feel like a lot of people that are not from Arizona might not know just how diverse it is. That you can be in the desert, then you can be in the pines, and then you can be at a lake,
mm-hmm.
and then you can be at the highest elevated, peak, and then you can be down by the Colorado River. It's insane. Diversity of Arizona is incredible. And I love that Arizonans love that.
I do like it. I know like people that are not from here, they would be like, oh, it's hot and it's a desert. That's all they know. And then when I told them like, oh, there's snow here, they're like, what?
Mm. And red rocks. And yeah, definitely. And I grew up in Arizona, so I feel like, I was super blessed to create a community there. And so always, always grateful for that. You can find communities. You can find communities wherever you plant yourself and decide to grow. But for me personally, I was just very, very fortunate to have a pretty strong one. And I think it has the strongest, as far as business goes, it has the strongest chapter across, the states of supporting local business. So super grateful for that too.
Yeah. And you say you're in Texas now, right?
I'm currently in Austin, Texas.
How's that?
It's a great change of scenery. It's way more green, way more lush in Austin than it is.
Okay.
It's different. And a really different energy too. So yeah, still learning a lot about the city, but enjoying it so far. Any
local business that you like here?
Oh my gosh. In Austin, I feel like Austin is very into the local. So I'm learning so much about it. Yeah. Austin itself is. Texas as a state, I think, is just so huge that I haven't learned enough about their programs as far as that goes.
There's like a whole other country in itself.
They certainly have kind of that mentality, like culture. But the food here in Austin is incredible. Every restaurant I've been to has been superb. So,
what do they focus on?
They're huge in tacos, actually.
Tacos?
Yeah, there's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have like street tacos everywhere. Even, there's traditional Mexican food in Arizona, but like specifically here, the street tacos are like their jam.
Wow. Okay. I need to travel. Okay.
Yes. Well, if you ever come out, Jennifer, let me know.
That was it. Thanks for talking to me. I learned a lot.
Good. The teacher self in me is...
I know. No, this is a good transition for you. The teacher, you still have that
Yes.
aspect of it.
That's right.
Thanks for joining me for this week's episode of Gen Next Door Podcast. I enjoyed speaking with Denise about her delicious and healthy nut butters. I love that although she studied psychology, she was willing to try something new and create a business that makes an impact. If you also like this episode, please share with friends and family. You can also connect with me on Instagram at Gen Next Door Podcast and let me know your ideas on guests or how I can improve. Until next time, talk to you soon.